Hello everybody, thank you for clicking on this video. My name is In The Game Kaya, and as always beside me today, my brother, Super Shadow 515. Say hello.
What's up, everybody?
And today we're going over an update on Sonic World Recreations that I am calling Sonic World Recreations Act 2. Kind of. It's basically the same project, except that the official project, some of you may or may not know, ended up getting canceled by the head of the project on the Sonic World team because nobody was setting in stages. So I am basically the head of the project now.
Unofficially.
Well, actually, officially now. I actually talked to the guy who was in charge. His name, and I'm going to slaughter this because I'm bad with web handles, Cypheus was in charge of the project, and he said it's probably better to have it as a fan thing anyway. But now, you know, hopefully we can get some more support brewed up for this, and people seem to be fairly excited about it. So hopefully that's a plus. And I'm changing the rules just slightly. Previously, all stages had to be recreated by hand, which is incredibly time-consuming and can be frustrating if you're not great at it.
Take it from me, I tried doing a one-to-one of Sonic Generations Sky Sanctuary Act 2. After, I don't know, 5-6 hours of work, I had 15 seconds of level done. It looked awesome, but it was 15 seconds of level.
Yeah, not even. It was ride down a rail, jump up the stairs, and you're done. Yeah, and I've been working on Emerald Coast. I put more than 16 hours into Emerald Coast.
Come to find out that, who was it we just saw on YouTube?
TheJojoNetwork.
Yeah, the TheJojoNetwork has ripped the stage and has done a much better job.
And he improved the original model.
It's no gloss, which for some reason SA2 stage rips are usually a gloss. And somehow, he managed to get a no gloss version. Maybe he changed the textures, I don't know. And he changed the model to make it higher quality.
Yeah.
Props to you, dude.
Seams and stuff were all fixed out. And it looked really nice. I gotta give him props for that. It was really nice. But this is the big thing. You don't, if you want to be in the Sonic World Recreations, you do not have to make the stage by hand. However, if you're making a rip, it needs to be a high quality rip. No missing geometry or anything
messed up
like
textures.
That. No messed up textures.
No missing seams that cause you to glitch through the floor or pop up wildly into the air.
And no botched collision that causes you to go careening off into space when it looks like flat ground. A lot of Sonic Adventure DX rips have this problem, especially straight up. If you just like port the model to OBJ, convert to B3D, and then play that as a stage,
it doesn't work very well.
It does not work very well. Sonic stands on a wall while he's standing on the ground. It's really weird. Take it from me, I tried to do that several times. But obviously it can be done, and these ports can be improved even, where we're aiming for the highest quality possible. Meaning, not every stage can be ripped, but pretty much all of the 3 Sonic games can have their stages ripped. The only game that we absolutely can't have rips for, even if we could get the models, I suppose you might be able to make it work, but you have to be pretty creative, is Sonic Lost World. Because of the way the levels are designed, it would take a lot of finagling with the rotating of models and stuff to get it to work right.
I didn't think about that.
Because of the way Lost World's mechanics work with the whole tubular level design thing, which is kind of weird to look at anyway. But pretty much everything else can be ripped. Like I say, TheJojoNetwork is doing the Emerald Coast. He's doing a fantastic job with that. I think it was JLX777 is doing a pretty high quality flame core rip, which looks really promising, and I got to give him props for that as well. Also looking really nice. Scrolling lava textures, always a plus. Always a plus. But yeah, and if you can't rip, you're more than welcome to try your hand at 3D modeling. There is, unlike before, there is a quality threshold that needs to be met. It's pretty low, but there is a quality threshold that needs to be met.
Some basic things that you can look for that would make it a too low quality is fairly straightforward and wide open stages.
Stages that are way too big, stages that are way too small.
Yep.
Stages that, although they are one-to-ones, it's hard to tell that they're one-to-ones.
Object spamming.
Object spamming.
That's a big one for us, is object spamming.
With objects, we're trying for as close to the original object layout as possible. Now, when I say as close as possible, I have to qualify that, because there are some instances where the objects in Sonic World simply don't allow you to do what the original level did.
For example, like I mentioned earlier with Sky Sanctuary from Sonic Generations, Sky Sanctuary Act 2. Those things that go up and down. It looks like vines, horizontal vines that slide up and down. You can't do that. You have to change that.
You can put in fans.
Yeah, and until a recent addition to Sonic World, there were no rockets.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have had to do something different for something like Final Rush or some of the other Sonic Generations levels.
But if you want to take a look at what I'm talking about and what's acceptable, look at the Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 project for Sonic Generations, or the Sonic Unleashed project for Sonic Generations, as specifically the STH 2006 project that Briannu Sonic is working on. They take those Sonic the Hedgehog stages, and you can't exactly translate it one-to-one perfectly.
But they get as close as they can.
They get as close as they can, and then they keep in touch with the original style and idea of the stage when they have to take liberties with the object placement, so that the new objects don't feel out of place. Even though you can tell it's different, especially if you played Sonic 06 as much as, say, I have, because I've played the game twice, and I'm working on a third time through, for whatever reason.
That's a very good amendment to have, for whatever reason. But when you know the level layouts, you can tell that it's just a little bit off when you play the modded version.
But it still feels fine.
Yeah, it still feels fine.
And for the most part, it's identical. And there are some stages.
And that's another thing that we're looking for with these stages, is a nice flow to them. Which, if you do a good job of recreating the stages, it shouldn't be a problem.
But, like I said, we're trying for as high a quality as possible. If you can rip the stage, that's great.
Just make sure it works properly.
Yeah, it has to work properly. If the stage is broken, it doesn't matter how good it looks. That's number one. If the stage is broken, it doesn't matter how good it looks, it will not make it onto the list. And I'm keeping a running list, and you can find the list in the project thread in the description to this video. It's on Lost Generations, and it's where I'm hosting a lot of my Sonic projects now. So if you want to, you can follow me on there or whatever, and keep up with what I'm doing.
And there are also plenty of other things going on that side as well.
Mm-hmm. Great links to other Blitz Sonic stages and Generations and Lost World modding as well. I'm an SA2 guy, so that's what I'm working on. But like, there's a lot of stuff on there.
Anyways, if you want to take a look at some of the other stages that we've got done in the running list, there's a link to it in the description.
Yep. And you can look at the list, and if you look at the list, you'll see it's a really, really big list.
Yes, it is. A very, very long list. Now, are you doing like you've done in the past with the running list, including in-progress stages and who's working on them?
Mm-hmm. I was trying to keep a list in a YouTube video description. Yeah, not working.
No.
I actually created a list so big and so long that YouTube said, this description is too big, we can't do that.
Wow. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
But we're kind of getting off the point here.
So, just a quick overview. Try not to interrupt me this time.
Okay.
High quality as possible. Make sure it works. And rips if we can. Modeled by hand if we can't. specifically for 2D games. That's what we have to do. Another rule I haven't said yet, if you're making a 2D stage, it has to look like the original stage, and it has to be the same layout style as the original stage, you know, taking the 2D map, but it's not a 2D stage. Number one, we're not making any 2D stages. Now, if you're making a Sonic Unleashed stage or a Sonic Colors stage or something like that, like I'm working on a Tropical Resort port that I downloaded and the collision is working, I just need to patch the rails so that you can grind on it, which is way more work than should be necessary, but I'm doing it anyway because there's no way I'd be able to model at that quality. If you're making a 2D stage, you take the 2D map and you turn it into 3D, but that includes corners. That means that the map turns.
We don't want just a straight line.
We're not working in straight lines. So, for example, they were in the original Recreations project, but due to this new rule, to help the stages feel better, especially in a 3D environment, Bobby Atkins' recreations of some Sonic 1 stages are no longer acceptable anymore because they are straight lines. They are a one-to-one, but they're entirely too big, which is something that I mentioned before.
And object spamming.
Object spamming, which is something I mentioned before. It's not anywhere close to the original design. And it's a straight line. Back and forth and back and forth.
So, sorry, but we're going to need some higher quality stages.
Yeah.
Quality is of the highest demand here, people.
So the 2D stages will have to be made by hand. So these are rules that I want to remind everybody. And a lot of people seem to be confused, but these are one-to-ones, meaning the models and the objects look as close to the original game as possible. No original stages with the name of the old one. A lot of people seem to be confused about this. Well, this guy's working on this stage, and this guy's working on this stage. I've had 5 or 6 different people tell me this, and I go to check it out only to find that it's a new original stage. Now, a lot of these stages I've found they look pretty fun, and I'd be willing to play them, but they're not recreations.
Not for the Recreations project.
No,
because they're not one-to-one representations of the original stage.
So that if you put, let's say we're recreating Westopolis, and some guy made his own stage of Westopolis. If you put the original video side by side with footage from Sonic World and this stage, do they look like the same stage? They may have similar theming elements, but are they the same stage? Do they have the same turn, similar background elements, and all of these things? Nearly identical object placement. If it's a different stage, it's not a recreation. So if you're making a different stage, that's fine. And depending on how much support I get, I've been toying around in my head with another idea that I may or may not share with you guys. I don't want to share it now because I'm afraid it'll get more support than the Recreations project, which I think deserves to be focused on first. But that's beside the point. So make sure it works. High quality models, as close to the original as possible in layout and objects. And just check the list frequently. If you want to start working on a new stage, let me know, and I will put it on the list. And more than likely, you can reach that minimum quality threshold, so I'm not too concerned about it. 99% of the people I've seen make stages could pass this quality threshold. I'm thinking of a couple. Don't you say any names, because I know you know who I'm thinking about, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So go ahead, give it a shot. Let me know, and I'll be sure to test them out, and I'll keep posting updates here on my YouTube channel as well. And for the time being, at least, Emerald Coast is again, actually probably for the first time, being put on hold. I mean, it was put on hold for Supremacy, which I just got the light alpha release out, so I'm kind of back to my YouTube channel.
But considering
TheJojoNetwork's RIP, and potentially, especially if it finishes that SADX Emerald Coast rip and objects it to be as close to the original as possible, I might ask him if he could do other SADX stages because it looks really, really good. It does. It's crazy. But I'm already over 15 minutes, and I think I've covered everything at least once. So with that having been said, go crazy. Let me know about your craziness, and have a good day.
We'll see ya.